So she's going to go and watch Wicked, and it's like a drama trip. So yeah, she's we're just obviously they've got to have things like a red hat and stuff. I mean, who owns a red hat? I mean, I now own one, so if anyone wants to buy it, that's no problem. Right. Let's. Do you know what? Let's just start off by having a bit of a chat about what's happening. All right, and there's obviously lots of scarcity. I'm even a bit until I kind of read up about it. So we've got obviously US kind of what's ended up happening is Donald Trump's been goading the Iranian people to carry on protesting almost through social media, saying that don't worry, protest, the US has got your back. Now, according to news outlets, about 5,000 people have died. Um, but if you speak to if you speak to obviously other groups, they're saying it's close to 10. So obviously you've got this obviously war, happening here, and everyone's chipping in. The UK have chipped in. It seems that Iran seems to be one of those countries where if they do something wrong, everyone's on them. Human rights. So that's obviously one thing. But now we've got the interesting thing about Greenland. All right. Now, even I was a bit worried about this because he did this huge tweet, and it was basically just. I mean, one thing you've got to give to Donald Trump, he's very honest. He will put everything out there, and obviously it wasn't until I had a look into everything where this has happened before. It happened in 1946. Harry Truman, uh, 60s. William Seward. Loads of it's happened lots of times, but basically, long story, short, which I didn't even, know about until I researched it today, was how important the Arctic is. Okay. Now, China and Russia, have got, whatever bases in the Arctic, and obviously as the ice is, melting, one of the future trade routes is obviously running right past Greenland, which I also didn't realize was a part of Denmark. I mean, I'm going back to school here, but I've properly looked into it today. So the US have obviously had a base in Greenland for a long time. That they've invested a lot of money in infrastructure, but so have China. All right. Now, what Donald Trump is coming out with is he's saying that the US need to own Greenland, otherwise China or Russia will own it. All right. Why anyone has to own it, I don't know. But obviously that is what he's coming out with because it is a key future, kind of defense. Um, from obviously anything happening, from the coming from the Arctic. All right, that's why, and it's a key route between North America and Europe. So basically, whoever owns it is gonna control or gonna control partially a bit of trade. All right, and so that's why. But he's gone about it the wrong way. He is saying that I can't remember on the tweet. He said from the 1st of February, he's going to impose basically on Europe. That includes the UK too, 10% tariff. And if the deal isn't agreed for them to buy it, or own it, he is going to increase tariffs in June to 25%. Now, whether this will happen, he's like a blooming spoiled child, but I mean, I actually like Trump. I don't like this. I don't know what's happening. It's like if you watch like any, or read about any big, war heroes, war generals, they tend to get a bit power hungry and just it just goes wrong. And obviously that's when their empire crumbles. I am a bit worried, but obviously I just don't want it to affect. I think Europe's having a hell of a time, because obviously it's the one, it's one of the main routes obviously into the UK for anyone who wants, uh, asylum, and obviously it's very, very, very hard. So I just think Europe in general, plus you've only got France and Germany really that are propping up the rest of Europe. So it's a very, but as soon as we pulled out, you actually, yeah, it's just a tough job. So right with all that, um, with all that kind of explained, and obviously, if you guys ask, I'm happy to obviously write it in a bit more detail. That is no problem at all. Um, but yeah, with all that explained, um, we should expect money to flow into the, safe havens. Now, one of this, I'm sure about gold, right? I can pretty much assure you, well, not, sure, but it's going to be buying all the way. It might not start, now, it might start tomorrow, but this is going back into that, hedge fund speech, all right, which I, had, where if they are in their, stocks, all right, and they've bought Europe, even US, um, and Europe, US, UK, any companies, any hedge fund that, say, for example, they've bought here, yeah, all right. And obviously, with all this happening, tariffs, blah blah blah, their stocks might start to dip, right? And it will dip below their entry. Now, a hedge fund won't close because they're looking at the long-term goal. They're looking at optimism. Things like this are just, um, short term. But as you can see by the history of gold, it happens all the time. All right. So what they would do is obviously this period, if it happens, of certainty will drop them below their entry. So rather than closing this position, they will allocate a proportion into buying gold. Yeah. And what will that do? All right. The more this goes up, the less they don't even care about this now. All right. But when everything starts to turn, all right, when everything starts to kind of turn, that is when they will then, when this, stock um, turns, or, various, stocks turn, they will then close out of gold. All right. But gold will have made them profit. All right. To profit, to take out this. All right. A hedge. All right. Because obviously, if their stocks are going down, gold's going up. All right. It's a, classic hedge. But then they can afford to buy again here with this profit and take, these, stocks up. And obviously, that's a very, very basic way of obviously how that they would be, utilizing gold, so don't think, you know 9 times out of 10, gold is a hedge, for hedge funds with a, against a, another asset. And obviously that's why it just keeps climbing. All right, because yeah, all this, stuff happens, where their companies are going to do this, and then this, um, when this happens here, if they've only just bought in here, yeah, gold, all right, covers this. They can then close out gold, enter again, and then obviously make twice as much money, without obviously having any risk on the table. So that is obviously one thing to have a look out for today. Now, one thing that, or yeah, tonight slash tomorrow, and like always, I do not recommend anyone trading tonight. Everyone's probably, hot fingers thinking, yes, you know what, I'm ready. But no one wants to blow their account on, Sunday evening. All right, it's the worst feeling ever. I've done it, not very many times, but I've been that guy, hot fingers wanting to trade. I'm itchy. I'm there. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna buy. I'm gonna make money. Just yeah, spreads are wild. All right, so just be a bit careful. And then yes, we should be okay. I always recommend just sit back and watch, get some popcorn out, and we will start trading tomorrow. All right, it's not worth risking it tonight to obviously not be able to trade or be stuck in a terrible position tomorrow. Now, the dollar index, all right, the dollar, the US dollar. Are we gonna? The interesting thing here, will this act as a safe haven? All right, this is good. Good. This is gonna be an interesting one because obviously, trade works both ways. All right. If I know obviously there's things that we obviously need to buy from the US, but if we stop buying it, then obviously they're gonna have less of an income because there's no trade there, so it's although certain things we obviously need to buy, it works both ways, all right, with the trade. So I'm a little bit on the fence with whether the US dollar is going to act as a safe haven. If it does, that the position it's in right now, plus the tailwind of a safe haven, it is gonna fly, absolutely fly. Um, One thing you can, kind of guarantee if we get this continued dollar, strength, then pound and euro are the ones to, short. All right, we're not going to be looking to buy these, especially euro. Um, these extra, I mean, that was already rumors out that the European Prime Minister or the European, my brain's gone dead, but she's come out and said that we're obviously not going to do trade with you, so yeah, it's real, is it schoolyard chat or is it actually gonna happen? That's kind of what we've got to, think about here. And obviously that's why I would recommend that's why I would, recommend to make sure that we yeah are we want to see how market opens tonight, and then obviously we can trade off the back of it. Remember what I always tell you guys: wait for the waves to be created, all right, and then obviously we will surf them once they have been created. Yeah, rubbish drawing, but there we go. But that's the beauty of just waiting for it to happen. Don't feel the FOMO of missing out. But yes, that's obviously what we're going to be looking at. I imagine we're going to be buying the dollar hard. We're going to be buying gold hard. I think a good one, if we don't get a lot of movement, will be USDJPY. I actually really, really, like this one to the upside, but let's wait and see. It all depends on the dollar. Everything's working. Well, with this, it's made highs. It's holding around this area. There's a lot of liquidity here. I do, like it. We were a bit unlucky with USD to JPY last week. It didn't quite come back and tap and then scoot off. So that's going to be one which I'm very, very interested in, in the morning. Right. Let's go through some of these. Richard, Didn't Trump want to take over Canada? Probably. I'm not sure. I think if he could, he'd take over the world. Vic, with your analysis, would you consider a long-term swing trade? Uh, Probably this week you could. Yes, like I'd said. I wanted to do this because I've been trying to do it every year and I keep forgetting. But obviously, gold, if you'd have bought on the 1st of January, right, I just wanted to 1 year just buy and just hold. If you think about it, we'd already be and it's not even the end of January yet. We'd already be like nearly 2,000 pips in profit, which is crazy. But that's how easy trading could be. But yeah. Aki, evening. Is euro not a safe haven currency? No, right? Euro is not. The only safe, proper safe haven currency is the US dollar. All right, because obviously the whole forex market revolves, round it. All right, so that's why, depending, US dollar is, normally a pretty, safer place to put your, money. So yes, but obviously euro, because euro USD is the most traded asset. It is, it has an indirect, correlation. So if you've got a strong US dollar, you're going to have overall a very, very weak euro. Now you can take this into, a euro JPY or a euro AUD. I mean, even looking outside the box, something like a euro AUD might be a good pair to trade because you're going to have a very, very weak euro, and you're going to have obviously a strong Aussie because Aussie is, linked with gold, and if gold pumps, Aussie's going to pump with it. So euro AUD might be a good pair to trade, this week. And obviously, depending on yen, yeah, let's just wait and see. Yes, you can class, so yen in cases is classed as a safe haven because it's got a negative interest rate. You're not going to make money on it, but you're not going to ever lose money because it's not going to change. So it's pretty stable. Swiss. Yes, Swiss can be classed as a safe haven, but it all depends where the market's moving its money. All right, so you know are you gonna move it to, Switzerland to, hold, or are you gonna put it into gold? And I think, 9 times out of 10, gold is the one. Uh, Silver, whoever asks, yes, that should, follow along, super gold. That's been tipped to obviously outperform gold this year. I think, what do we say? It's at 1900. So if we look at silver, it started the year here. So silver at the moment, yeah, not quite. Yeah, it's about the same as gold, probably a little bit under, but yeah. Ron, if all EU is ganging up against Trump, wouldn't this mean Euro's going up? No, because obviously he's imposing tariffs, and basically the whole, even the whole combined of Europe would still probably struggle to take on Trump, and obviously he knows that. Plus you got NATO, everyone, basically most of Europe is in NATO, so it's kind of risking that partnership because he's basically stormed in like a child into the boardroom saying we want Greenland or we're going to charge you guys all extra. But obviously, let's carry on and be, friends and obviously allies. It's just it is a bit scary. I'm not gonna, lie, but obviously, you know what? At the same time, for us trading, like I know it's horrible to say, we kind of love a bit of, volatility because if you know and you understand it, then obviously that's what you want. You want markets to be going crazy. If everyone was to get along, the FX, markets would look like this. All right, but because we got Trump, it looks like this. All right, it's just, that's what we, want. Oh, this week we obviously had an all green week, last week, let's make sure we got an all green week. This week too. I'd love an all green, month. I haven't had one in ages, so yeah, that's obviously the plan. David, can we all go into the week feeling confident and possibly increasing our lot size? At the moment, I'm around zero point 0.5 for currencies and 0.02 for gold. That is all individually um, up to you, So, one thing that I wanted to go through tonight, actually, while we are on this is have I got rid of everything? Yes, I have. Right, so let's hypothetically say that we're in this trade here. All right, I just want to make sure that everyone understands. All right, the kind of protocol when placing the particular trades. All right. So say for example we're in this trade here, yeah. All right, say, price has come up, triggered us, all right, but obviously we're in a bit of draw down here, yeah. All right. Now what I want, or my way of trading, right, is doesn't matter where the stop loss is, right? I'm gonna write this out, all right? If a 2 hour candle closes above my zone, I am out. Yeah? All right, because if a 2 hour candle was to close above, so say for example we were entering here, yeah? All right, as soon as this the wouldn't matter to me if my, say we've entered here, all right, and stops are up here, and then I'll take profits here, all right. It wouldn't matter, to me if we got, stopped out. Once this candle here would close, I'm out because that's invalidated my trade. Yeah. All right, so that's one thing that I wanted to uh, bring up. All right, now lots of times you'll see me enter an additional trade, and obviously this is pretty much our AUD USD trade from Friday. All right, now if our zone is, say for example our zones here, yeah, all right. Or say, let's make it very, very easy because I'm pretty sure it was here 700. I think it was whatever. All right. So if it blows in and it comes up and taps the top, I like to take that extra risk. All right, and I will enter an additional trade from the top. Yeah. All right. So I will have two trades. Yeah. I will have one. I'm just gonna, separate them. I'll have one where I've entered here, all right, on the entry, and I'll have one where I've entered on the top, yeah, all right. So, what you can do, there's a few ways that you can manage your trades here. All right. If price like it did came back, all right, into your entry and you're at your first entries in a bit of profit, all right, you got three choices. All right. You have got choice one, all right. You close both, right, in a bit of profit, right? I've done this a few times, right? And I wouldn't have blamed anyone Friday for doing this. All right. Two, right, is why am I not thinking? There we go. Two is hold both. Oh, hold both. All right. And then number three, right, last one, which I probably would recommend, is close first entry. Yeah, entry. Oh my God. Entry. There we go. Yeah. All right. So, for example, if price has come up, you've taken a bit more of a chance. You've entered again. All right. But price then comes down here and is in a bit of profit. You close this one out. Yeah. All right. It's closed out in a weeny bit of profit. But your entry is now up here. Yeah. Right. You're right at the top. Yeah. All right. So, that's obviously what you've got to, that's, three ways to kind of, manage it. Yeah. All right. Because you can, yeah, kind of look at it and be right. You know what? Now I'm a bit higher. You could even close this and move entry to break even. Yeah. All right. That then completely covers you because, yes, obviously this one might have, stopped out at break even. But you know what? You're covered. You've got that extra chance. Or, what I do, sometimes depending on the time is if I reach the top of my, zone, I kind of, write off the trade. So if it comes back to obviously entry, I'll just close both, and obviously most of the time the entry zone's like a good 10, 20 pips, so you're going to obviously pull a bit of profit off the table. Now, one thing that I want to explain to you is really important to be a bit more cautious Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all right? Because what you want to do is build up your profits Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Because then what you can do Thursday and Friday is you're not risking your overall capital. You're risking your profits from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So that means you can hit it a bit hard. Yeah. All right. So that's obviously one thing that I'd obviously, recommend, if you're not really sure, obviously, how to, understand price action and looking into how a candle actually works like I'd said, the reason I held for a bit on Friday, I just had that feeling that the dollar, I mean, I called it was going to come in and tap 99 five 500. Now it took until I think probably about half past two, no, three, for obviously this move to actually happen. All right. But obviously, I was just confident, that it was going to happen. All right. Now, one other thing to take into consideration, I can't remember where I had it here. All right. Is if, for example, we've got three trades open, yeah. All right. And we've got, say for example, we've got, I don't know, GBP USD in 10 pips profit, right? We got gold in say 80 pips profit. But then we've got, like we did Friday, USD JPY in say about 10 pips loss. Yeah. All right. If I've hit my overall daily target, I am closing all of these. Yeah. I'm closing this, I'm closing this, and I'm closing this. All right. I am not for any reason closing this one and closing this one, and just for my ego, holding this until it goes blue. All right. You've got to learn to take the losses, yeah? All right, because if you aggregate everything, you're in profit. All right? So and then to add on to that, if you've hit your daily target, your daily goal, close out. All right, so that's one, more the thing that I wanted to mention, because obviously I spoke to a few of you. I had a big chat with one of you, and obviously it was the fact, you were very, very honest. You're explaining to me how you really struggle, and you don't understand why, psychologically, to close a losing trade. And what I wanted to say is that's okay, because, well, it isn't okay, but obviously it's common. Probably, I would say 99% of people come into this and they're happy to close a winning trade early, but they will hold losers even past their stop loss. So right, let's just go through a couple of these. Jaco, gold tapped in at 4.4580 and 4.560 and went to stop loss within a few minutes. How do we trade this then? That sounded a little bit aggressive. It might be writing. Where was that? Four. So I know on Friday we didn't even tap our entry. It was six. I think it was like 6:30. I think was our entry. So I know that you're not speaking about us, but so if you are, gold's one way you've got to trade this careful. All right, and gold is one. I don't like gold. Obviously, yes, it boosts our account, but it can also hurt it, like heavy hurt it. So I always, say with gold, when you are happy and I would take profit off, because it could burn you so quickly. That they would have been like us, trying to sell. You know, we obviously, ours was just just out of reach. I think it was six, 30, 30. Just didn't tell. Was it 4.6225? Yeah, we just missed out. Only just. It would have been spot on, because our take profit was about here as well. So just just outside. But yeah, gold is one. Everyone wants to trade it. I don't know why, because but obviously I explained this would be hypothetically a gold move compared to, during a day, compared to obviously a GBP USD move or a Euro USD, move. So, but if we were trading the equivalent, lots, so say for example you are trading, say, point 0.1 here, and you're trading, you could probably trade 10 here. Yeah. All right. 10 lots. And then that's going to give you the equivalent feeling of what gold is. All right. But obviously, everyone trades gold at zero point 0.1 and currencies at zero point 0.1. And that's why everyone always favors gold. Um, so, yeah. Um, right, Aki, on Friday, I put two limit orders, one at each zone, split on GBP. Yeah, so you should have been fine. GBP, sorry, your USDJPY was the only one that caught us, Friday, but it didn't hit, to stop loss. It was just obviously I hit my target, and I just wanted to close out. So yeah, that's obviously what I would do, remember, because obviously what I've noticed, my zones are I've got them on point now, and obviously hopefully you can all agree. But what I've noticed as well, probably the safest option is obviously option one. All right. Which, what I've noticed is even if we've got it wrong, and obviously price has obviously come up. If you close out, it will give us one more chance to close out before it, flies against us. So don't forget that. It's a key rule, all right? If it hits the top, to play it, safe, we're going to run out of time. But yeah, that's obviously what I would recommend to edge on the, safer side. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this. We're going to smash it. We're going to really, really